Financially preparing yourself to move in a loved one with you isn't really something I don't feel you can maybe budget a whole lot for ahead of time. A lot of times it's something that happens unexpectedly. The timing isn't right, or you thought maybe you had more time before they would actually need the kind of assistance that it looks like they're requiring. So it always hits you off guard. But today I'd like to talk about the financial situation that I have been through with my dad since his diagnosis 5 years ago, and maybe what to expect if you're contemplating moving a parent or a loved one in with you. If this is your first time here, my name is Heather, and my dad moved in with me a year and a half ago, and he has dementia. So I like to talk about the real dollar amounts, the things that cost real money up front, and some of the resources that I wish somebody would have told me about ahead of time that I was unaware of. So before he even walked through the door, I knew it was going to cost money as far as the remodel of the bedroom. The master bedroom, the bathroom was quite a bit older and outdated and not compatible for someone that would be aging in place, getting out of a shower. So I knew it was going to be a complete gut. So I had contacted, at the time was a friend, and he had suggested that if we kind of tackled it together, we could save some money that way. However, I was still looking around $7,000 to get the bedroom and the bathroom ready for him. I know I did a video in the past on some before and after pictures, but we legitimately stripped it down to the studs. I had my brother come over and help with doing some of the drywall work and the ceiling work that it needed, and it turned out great. I'm sure you can probably see the pictures. It was quite a bit of a change, and I've been very happy with it since he's been in there. So I don't regret a single dollar that I spent to make his room comfortable for him. I wanted to try to make it feel as much as home as possible for him to be here, as well as knowing that I was going to have outside people come in and help take care of him, try to make it comfortable for them to get around to help take care of him better. So one of the first costs that I knew I was going to need some sort of, assistance with was getting back and forth to work. Facility that I put my dad into was an assisted living facility that was 30 minutes from here. I had toured most of them that were here in town, found one that was just outside of town that I liked the best for him, and I placed him there. So he was in an assisted living section of this facility for about a year, and then they decided to move him over to memory care. And when they moved him over to memory care, I would say he was probably there 6 months. And I was a little hesitant at first because the memory care for me just seemed like it was, everyone in there was far more advanced than he was in their dementia progress or whatever they had. Most of them could not talk. He was still able to hold a conversation. He might repeat and have the same conversation with you, but he was able to talk. And I was quite shocked about that and felt uncomfortable. So I gave it some time, and after discussing it with another friend of mine, I decided to move him to the city where I'm at and put him back into an assisted living facility and look into hiring aides to come in to temporarily just kind of keep him, occupied, I guess, in the evenings for a couple hours, a few nights a week. So that's what I did. And after living in that facility for 6 months, he accidentally snuck out one night, and it was late. He was pretty close to the nurse's station, so I was hoping that maybe, that would be a benefit. And I'm sure it was for a while, but all it takes is one time for them to sneak out. And he was picked up walking down the road by our local police department. And at that point, that's when I knew I was going to have to bring him to my house, because that was the last place to go. So when it came to paying for an aide, I started calling around, getting some numbers from facilities as well as private pay aides. And I would say the cost a few years ago started around $15 to $20 an hour. I would probably say the average, at least in my area, is around $20 to $30 an hour. I'm sure it's probably higher. It probably depends on the level of care that your loved one needs as well. My dad doesn't require any kind of wound care, any kind of injections or oxygen or changing of, anything that requires a lot of bodily fluids, I guess you could say. Other than incontinence, that's probably our biggest issue we're dealing with right now. But I would say his level of care is probably a little on the mild side, or at least it was in the beginning. And so $30 an hour is what the facility charges to have somebody come and sit with my dad. I'm sure if you're working a full-time job, and I live in my home. I'm not married, so it's just me and him that is here. I do have 2 grown children, and they're more than happy to come help when I ask them to, and they're available. So I do have some help that way. But as far as going to work or even just going out to dinner, I have to pay someone. So yes, I do pay at times. I am paying for my freedom, and I do not have an issue with that, and it's worth every cent. It keeps my sanity, so I still feel like I have a life as well. I figured out quickly that freedom is not a luxury. It's a necessity. If I get burned out or if I get frustrated, I'm not any good to him as well, or anyone else that's around me, because I will get grouchy. So another cost that came into play when he moved in here was a security system. My dad is exit seeking. He has sundowners, and for those of you that don't know what sundowners is, it's that time of the evening when most of us are winding down, getting ready to go to bed. They're just waking up and getting ready to go full force. And he gets very anxious and exit seeking when that time of the evening comes around. So I knew I was going to have to invest into a security system, which I bought one off of Amazon. It's a Simply Safe security system, and it's worked very well since I installed it. I have all sensors on the exterior doors that if something is opened, the alarm goes off. But I also have sensors on certain interior doors inside the house, like my basement door, his bedroom door, that will set off an alarm if I choose to set it to let me know that either, he's coming out of his bedroom, or he's, thinking about going down to the basement, which I don't let him do. But all the exterior doors, for sure, if he tries to sneak out, it will wake me up. And he's done it a few times, so it's definitely been worth it. And I don't want to have to experience, having the police department find him someplace while I'm sleeping because he's gotten out somehow. So it's worth every penny. It's just one of those things you figure out that you have to have as you're going along through this journey. So here's what's made it the most affordable for me to go back to work. But the one thing that I hadn't done, and that's apply for VA benefits for him. He's 85 years old. I knew he had been in the military, but I knew he didn't finish his time. That being said, I just didn't think that he was maybe eligible for any kind of a benefit, so I just never gave it a second thought. The last facility that I had him in, the assisted living facility, the director there and I were friends, and she said that it might be worth it just to apply, just to even see if I was able to get a little bit of help so I wasn't paying for as much out of pocket. So I decided to apply, and the first thing I had to do was go and get the DD 214 form, visiting the local veterans department here in my city, taking him in with me, going through all the paperwork, taking all of his personal information. And then once I was able to receive that DD 214, then I was able to go through and finish the application for benefits. Filled out the application, and this whole process took a couple months and numerous phone calls. I go out to my mailbox one day and see this huge envelope inside the mailbox, and it was all about his benefits at the VA that he was eligible for, and I was in complete shock at how much help they actually provided me. I've had people ask me in the past, had I applied for VA benefits or if my dad was a veteran, and I would tell them that he was, and tell them that he hadn't finished, his time that he was signed up for, but I had nobody probably stressed to me as my friend did at this last facility that he was in, to push me to do it, just to even see. It can't hurt anything. It's just a matter of taking your time to fill it out and put in for it. And I was so glad that I did, because I'm still in shock today at how much help that I've been able to get from the VA. So just to go down a list of things that the VA has been able to provide for me. Number one, I get hours every week that covers the aid to come here and sit with my dad while I go to work. Huge. I don't see how people would be able to work outside the home without that kind of help. The second thing, they have provided a hospital bed and table, and the shower chair that we use when we give him showers was provided. The grab bars for the bathroom were provided. The toilet support bar was provided. His medications are provided. His body wipes are provided, and undergarments are provided, which that's the newest addition to the benefit as he has started having some incontinent issues. So I take my dad to our local VA once every 3 months to have his toenails clipped and foot care done. He's also going to be getting some special shoes because he has bad bunions, things like that. So he does go to all of his doctor visits now at the VA, and they pay for all of those. I had no idea that he would be anywhere near eligible for any of this stuff. So prior to this, he was on Medicare. And whatever Medicare didn't cover, we were covering out of pocket. So the application necessarily isn't simple. It's lengthy, but well worth your time to do it if your loved one has ever been in the military, even if they didn't complete their military time. And my dad did have an honorable discharge. I don't know what the rules are, but it's a tiered program, so I don't know all the details of that. But definitely well worth the time to put into the application process. Some of the little things I have purchased on my own for my dad. I did get him a rollator just because we needed that early on. Long distance walking for him is an issue. And I've tried to keep life as simple for him as possible, but also as normal for him as possible. He still has his cell phone that he's always had, even though I've had to buy multiple cell phones of the same style and brand since then because he has lost a couple. I try to keep that as normal as possible for him. I try to keep his wallet with him, although now he has an expired driver's license that is in the wallet, not the current one. His library card is in there, and I've also gotten him fake money. The fake money has been a huge thing, and because I don't want to give him real money. He was carrying real money, and he went on his first respite stay to a nursing home facility, and I let him take some money with him, not really thinking twice. And of course, he lost it while he was there. But if I don't let him take his wallet, he's very agitated and distraught and constantly looking for it. So the wallet he's very much attached to, as I feel most of us probably would be at that age, as well as my purse. So fake money has been a godsend. And if you haven't used this yet, it's called prop money. And I'll try to show a picture of that on Amazon, or I don't think I bought that on Amazon. I think I might have purchased that from someplace else. But anyway, very helpful because he cannot tell the difference, and it's great. So I guess the biggest takeaway of all this is caregiving is going to cost money, real money. And again, it's not something that you budget for when you aren't really expecting when that time is going to happen, when you actually have to bring them in. But you can try to prepare as much as possible. Hopefully some of this information helps someone. Might be some things that you can look into beforehand, before it gets to that stage with your loved one. But I tried to prepare myself as much as possible, and I still had a long way to go. But help exists out there. Resources exist. The area council on aging is a good place to start, especially in your local county, because I know things vary from state to state, but that would be a first place to start. And generally, when you get signed up through one agency or you give your information out to one place, it just snowballs and you start getting phone calls from some other places, or you can start looking into other resources as well too. And spending that money even for yourself to have that time isn't selfish. It's the most responsible thing you can do. for yourself as well as the person that you're caring for, because you definitely need that time as well. My name is Heather, and I thank you for listening, and I hope to see you in the next video. And thank you for watching Empty Nest Interrupted.